I'm going to insert the blade at the top cut, the short one. And I'm going to pry it off. Now because it's so cold out here, it's frozen, so it's not going to peel quite as easy as if it were above freezing. Especially with thick bark like we have here. Now, if you can see this, hopefully the camera's in the right position. I'm pretty much the teacher and cameraman at this time. So you've got the outer bark, and I peeled through all the way down here to this nice manila colored bark, if you can see that. Now this manila layer here, this is a hard layer. This is the hardwood of the tree. However, if you look here, while I freeze my hands a second, right here you had the top layer of bark. Now we're going to make a little sandwich. We've got the top layer of bark all the way down through that reddish color bark right there, if you can see it. And then underneath that, you see this white layer. This is the cambium layer, the white layer. Now the white layer can be peeled off. It's kind of gummy because it's full of sap. But the white layer can be peeled right off. Now, you can see right here, peeled that right off, nice and thin, off the hard bark on the outside. Now this is useless to me unless I want to keep it and dry it for kindling for my fires, or if I want to use a bunch of this for the floor of my shelter. However, this right here is what I'm interested in. Not very big, but you can peel this in long strips like noodles or chunks, either way. It's chilly. That's alright. Tonight I think it's supposed to be about 25 below, so this is warm comparatively. Okay, so now this right here, the cambium layer off the hemlock tree, can be eaten raw. That's right, you can eat the bark of the tree raw. Or you can cook it. You can boil it. Put my gloves back on. You can cook it. You can boil it like a noodle. You can dry it by your campfire. Once it's completely dry where it can break, you can pound it with the butt of your knife or a rock or a branch into a powder like sawdust, and you can make flour using just this. Now, when you get that flour, you can mix that flour with water, and you can form it into a dough consistency and pour that right on the coals of your fire and make what's called an ash cake. Very nutritious and delicious. And you say, well, what does it look like when it's dry? Well, I just happen to have a jar here. Take my gloves off again. What does it look like when it's dry? Well, it looks like sawdust. See if I can get closer to the camera here. This is what it looks like when it's dry. That big heap of sawdust. Now this flower here, I harvested from the black birch, also known as the sweet birch, which of course is also edible. They all have their different flavors, different tastes. Now, the cambium layer is full of vitamin A and vitamin C. If you're eating this, and you could, in an emergency situation, survive off of hemlock bark, or the inner bark of the birch tree, or the inner bark of maple trees, all winter long, and you would never get scurvy. Vitamin A and vitamin C are the main contents. It does have some minerals and things like that as well, but your main contents are those two very important vitamins. And if you make those bread cakes, or if you boil these as the ash cakes, or you make noodles with them, or you eat it right off the tree, people have many times survived all winter just by eating the bark of the trees. The Adirondacks, the Native Americans over there, as well as many other places in the United States, have survived many winters just by eating the trees. So, that is a very small blurb from my Winter Wild Edibles workshop, which is also combined in my winter course as well. So if you're at all interested in any of this, you're interested in learning more about this and what you've seen, go ahead and visit my website, waysofthewild.com. Actually, it's waysofthewildinstitute.com. And go ahead and check out what we have to offer up here in Vermont. We'd love to see you up in the woods, in the frigid winter or in the nice steamy summer. Either way, come up with a smile and let us learn together. Medicine blessings.